to management and ownership of Sammy Squirrel's Pizza Parlor. Dear Sirs, last week I had the misfortune of attending a party on your premises, and I found the accommodations to be completely abysmal. I hope you appreciate me taking the time out of my busy schedule to inform you about these inadequacies. At first, I had no intention of spending my valuable energy writing such a letter, but when I considered that other poor unknowing souls might wander into your place of business and be subjected to the horrors that I was, I thought it my civic duty to write you in hope that my criticisms and suggestions not fall on deaf ears, for making changes based on my observations may be your only hope to raise your establishment to the mere level of adequate. I'm afraid to hope for more would be pushing the boundaries of optimism. First of all, your game selection was severely lacking. There was not one shoot-'em-up style shooter. No House of the Dead, no Area 51, not even Cabal. I would have settled for the tedious gameplay of Big Game Buck Hunter. And you had an inappropriate number of sit-down drivers, all of which were painfully outdated. I wouldn't have been surprised to walk around the corner and find pole position sitting there half covered in dust. In the interest of this criticism staying constructive, I have attached a list of games that I would recommend you purchase for your establishment if you wish to remain in this market of competitive commerce. Also, the pizza which you advertise in the name Sammy Squirrel's Pizza Parlor can hardly be called that. You may consider changing the name to the more apt Sammy Squirrel's Corrugated Yeast Covered with Catsup and Cheese Dandruff Parlor. It was as if someone had dropped a few flakes of cheese on the bill of my hat and I tried to eat it. Something, by the way, I would have considered doing after I left your establishment, so famished I was by the non-nutritional value of your wares. It would have taken 3 extra-large pizzas just to somewhat satiate a grown male for a meal, but I could not condone such a feat, as it would surely result in liver damage, not to mention any number of other gastrointestinal ailments. The crust was so thin that I could have traced the Sunday funnies with it. The pizzas were so devoid of sauce, it was as if the cooks just spread red on the surface. And the top was so bereft of cheese, it would have struggled to support a starving mouse. A few more important notes that you should take into account. Your slides do not support the weight of a fully proportioned, full-boned adult such as myself, nor was the inflatable castle filled up to its proper PSI. I could only feel the cold hard floor on my feet through the 2 layers of rubber, while all the castle's occupants came tumbling towards me. There are far too few balls in your wacky cage of balls. I was also distressed that the no-throwing rule was not enforced by your lackadaisical employees, even after repeated requests of intervention. One of your patrons continually threw balls at me while I was in the cage, even after I alerted him of his delinquency. This child's behavior was so abhorrent that I would implore you to blacklist him from your chain altogether. His name is Billy Thompson, and he is in 5th grade at Wolf Elementary. If you take no other advice from this letter, do your business a favor and have this child 86th. Yours truly, Chester Herman. To my dearly beloved sister, thank you kindly for inviting me to little Sam's 10th birthday party. I hope Sam enjoys his copy of Ulysses, and please tell him that I look forward to discussing it with him in length when he is finished. I do apologize for drinking from the pitcher of orange soda. Their concept of a pitcher is so small that it barely looked like a large drink to me, sufficient enough for any grown man of my stature. Just another way that the corporate environment continues to fleece us. Shame on them. There is another point of concern that I wish to share with you, and that is of Sam's choice of companionship. While I found most of his friends to be tolerable in spite of their age, there is one element of his group that is cause for dire alarm and should be confronted before he is able to corrupt poor Sam's delicate sensibilities. That is, of course, the intolerable little Billy Thompson. This wretched whelp of a boy should immediately be quarantined from Sam at all costs. He exhibited the behavior of adolescent criminals and has all of the signs of becoming one. Why, as a precautionary measure, he should be taken into the halls of justice and tried as an adult based on his demeanor alone. Continually he cut in front of me when in line to the arcade, calling me fatty despite trying to logically explain my glandular medical disability and allergy to fruits and vegetables. Upon playing Whack the Mole, he incited the whole group of children to whack me, declaring me the mole. While demonstrating to Sam the finer points of the game Defender, Billy pressed the buttons, using all of my hyperbombs, thus prohibiting me from getting my normal high score. And when I protested, he said that I sucked, not the language that a 10-year-old should be exposed to. The last straw came when I was at the top of Sammy Squirrel's slide, and I had the realization that the slide was not going to support a man of my carriage. While trying to negotiate the trip back down the ladder with a line of children behind me, Billy announced to the children that the large truck was backing up, and he proceeded to make loud beeping noises. The nerve, the insensitivity, and I won't even mention the ballroom incident. I'm not sure what pressure you may have been under to invite the child. I assume it was from his parents who begged you to take him so they could have a moment of peace. Of course, I wouldn't be surprised if the parents were actually to blame. I am considering tipping off the Humane Society and see if they will perform an emergency spay and neuter procedure on these barbarians. Anywho, thank you again, and I look forward next year to a Billy Thompson free party. Your loving brother, Chester Herman. My dear nephew Sam, thank you for letting me celebrate the beginning of your 10th year at Sammy Squirrel's Pizza Parlor. I hope you're enjoying your favorite gift, wink wink. I had a grand time, with the exception of your friend, your unfortunate contemporary, Billy Thompson. I have great sympathy for you must see him every day at school, while I only had to endure him for one grueling afternoon. I know you said he was your friend, but now that you're older, you have to restrain your well-meaning impulse to help the less fortunate and realize that some cases are too far gone to require help. You must use discretion when choosing your friends, as not to waste energy on the hopeless. Avoid that Billy Thompson at all costs. If you do have the misfortune of running into him, you may deliver a message for me. Please inform him that it is not I who am the jerk, but quite the contrary. In fact, if he ever cared to pick up the dictionary, although I seriously doubt he has ever cracked the spine of any publication, he would find his name and picture listed under the word jerk. And please tell him that contrary to his supposition, I am in fact rubber and he is glue, and it stands to reason that every insult that he has delivered to me has bounced off of me and attached itself to him. Also, please inform him that your other uncle is a policeman, and another one of your uncles is a lawyer, and that I know where he lives, and if he causes any problems, I will sick the dogs of law and punishment upon him. Now, you and I know that this is not true, but Billy doesn't know that it is not true. And sometimes the only way to detour a degenerate liar is to use his own ammunition against him. I have to stop writing this letter now, as the mere thought of the little Billy Terror is causing an extreme case of indigestion. So, my dear nephew, I say to you, Excelsior! And happy birthday. Your concerned and caring uncle, Chester Herman. Dear Billy Thompson, you are adopted. Your real parents didn't want you and are living happily in Rio de Janeiro. The adults you live with now are paid by the government to keep you. I thought you should know the truth. Signed, Concerned Public Employee of the U.S. Welfare Department.